Good morning, students. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm students. Okay, just those students who were not able to present last time in the discussion, can you please raise your hands so that we can start with those students today and then we'll move to the other students. सबने प्रेजेंट कर दिया था? So all of you presented last time. If I'm not wrong, कुछ बच्चे रह ही गए थे, right?
In last class, I was the last one to speak.
Okay, after that, Sahiba,
Yes.
Sanjana, and they were not. Fine. Okay, thanks, Neha. So, okay, so today's topic for the discussion is a very interesting one. Like, we all talk about the weather forecasting, and we all see the weather forecasting whether when we are moving out or when we are going out, or even for the some events also. Like the weather forecasting is very accurate. So whether it's a snow which is being predicted in the coming days, or it's a dust storm, or it's heavy rainfall, precipitation in the form of a heavy rainfall, everything is being predicted, right? So beforehand, we come to know that, and certain events, also certain cyclones or other events which can cause a lot of destruction, also they are being predicted properly in the past time, right? So what is the use of the prediction of weather forecasting, that they are predicting such events? The use is that if there are chances that if there's a sea storm which is being, or some cyclone which is being predicted, and we are if we come to know this before one day, or maybe just before, just 2 days or one day before, so we can steps can be taken. We can those areas, people who are living around the sea, those areas can be vacated, people can be alerted not to move out because there'll be a some kind of a storm which is being predicted, right? So the use of this weather forecasting events is basically that the extreme events can be predicted and people can be alerted about the their effects, and some steps in advance can be taken to reduce the impact of such events. So this is about the weather forecasting. So similarly, there are disease forecasting programs which are being developed, and the use of these disease forecasting is that diseases can be predicted before they are going to take place, right? See, when we talk about a disease, and when we talk about that how disease develop in a particular area or in a community, so we talk about a disease triangle, right? So in disease triangle there were three components: the host, pathogen, and the environment. So all the factors are being studied. So when we are forecasting, or when we prepare a certain program or a model for a disease forecasting, we study all these three factors, right? We study the environment also, we study the host factors also, we study the pathogen factors also. And for maybe 5 to 6 years, when we have studied these factors very clearly, we can develop one program, or one a disease model can be developed which can forecast the disease before it is actually going to take place. So this disease forecasting programs are actually very well available in case of a plant disease forecasting. That too, the most programs are basically for fungal and bacterial pathogen, though some programs are being developed, or models being developed for the plant viruses also. But then disease forecasting, human disease forecasting is again a very complex phenomena as compared to when we talk about the plant disease forecasting, right? So a lot of studies are being required in this, and a lot of factors are required that we need to take into consideration before we develop any disease forecasting program. So such programs have been developed for infectious diseases such as influenza. In US they developed develop a flight cast program for influenza. So what they did say, they actually develop a program in such a way that before maybe 1 month before or maybe few days before, they are able to forecast that disease is going to take place. So people should be careful, or a vaccination is required. It can be done. They can go for a vaccination or other such things. Similar disease forecasting programs, they were developed for other pathogens. For there was a Ebola forecasting for Ebola also. So they, on the basis of the previous impact and studies of Ebola virus, that how it has taken place, they were able to develop a one model which could predict the forecasting of that particular disease, right? So this way, if disease, what is the use in disease forecasting, that why disease forecasting and where it could be helpful? If we can predict any epidemic before it is going to happen or it is going to take place, particular disease, we are prepared, we can prepare ourselves for the, if for the therapeutics, our availability of the therapeutics or a vaccination if available for that particular disease. We can alert people if there are some sanitation practices which are required to be taken by the humans. We can tell them that, okay, for example, the forecasting, if it could be done, such some pathogens such as the dengue viruses or the those diseases which are transmitted by the virus, these vectors basically, or mosquito-borne vectors. So mosquito breeding is increased in a rainy season. So when the population of a mosquito is more in that particular season, there are chances that disease will also take place. So people are already alerted about, like, don't allow water to store in a particular place for a longer time. Those try to cover those breeding grounds for a mosquito, so that if vector is not there, then disease will also not take place, or there will be less disease transmission, right? So disease forecasting programs are useful because they can alert us about a particular disease before it is going to happen, and then in that time it gives a preparation time for that particular disease which is going to happen, and we can, we can educate people, we can guide healthcare services, we can guide diagnostic labs for any such events which is going to take place in the future. So these kind of a forecasting programs are called disease forecasting program, and disease forecasting can be done for both human pathogens and the plant pathogens. Though in a human pathogens, it is still a tricky procedure and a lot of factors are required to be studied when we are talking about the human pathogens. But many disease forecasting programs, they have been developed for the plant viruses. For example, there was a tomato spotted wilt virus program which was developed for the tomato spotted wilt. Then there was a papaya ring spot virus papaya program which was developed for the papaya ring spot virus. Similarly, for other pathogens also, such kind of a programs have been developed which could forecast disease to some accuracy, and then steps can be taken for the management of that particular disease, that how we are going to manage that disease if that disease is going to take place, right? So like weather forecasting alerts us about a particular weather event or extreme of a weather event, the disease forecasting can tell us about a particular disease which is going to take place in the near future, or maybe in a near time, right? So these are my opening remarks on the disease forecasting. So we'll go for like Nehal, right? After Nehal, we are going Sahiba. So Sahiba, what have you read about anything about disease forecasting when you try to put this particular keywords in the Google? What did you read and what did you get to read?
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Uh,
Sahiba. Please switch on
Ma'am,
your camera also.
okay, ma'am, one second. Am I visible?
Yeah, you're visible, Sahiba. Yes, go on.
Ma'am, I read about plant diseases, like disease
Mm-hmm.
forecasting for plant diseases, and
Mm-hmm.
what I found out is that forecasting of plant diseases means predicting for the occurrence of plant disease in a
Mm-hmm.
specified area ahead of time. So
Yes, ahead
that
of time.
suitable, yes, ma'am. So that suitable control measures can be taken in
Mm-hmm.
advance to avoid losses. So
Mm-hmm.
disease forecasting are predictions of portable outbreaks or increase in intensity of disease. It involves well organized teamwork and energy, money. It is also used as an aid in the timely applications of chemicals. And what I also read about is like the information that is required for forecasting. The first one was host factors, which is important because the density and distribution of the host in a given location, and I mean the dense population of a variety, like they invite quick and spread of an epidemic. The next one was pathogenic factors, uh, like infection, dispersal of inoculum and all. The next were environmental factors like the temperature, humidity, uh, light intensity, and wind velocity. Yes, ma'am. That's what I
Okay.
read.
Yes, Saiba. So yes, this was about the plant disease forecasting and the factors you told that we need to study all these factors before we want to develop any disease forecasting program. And we need to look into the environmental factors also, host factors also, and the pathogen factors also, right? Because we see many pathogens, they vary with the variation in the environmental factors, such as vary with the temperature. Some pathogens, fungal pathogens, they impact more plants when there is a humidity, a lot of moisture is there. Some pathogens, they affect more plant when there is a dry weather, or they don't require a moist condition. So there are different environmental factors also which are required by the pathogens for the infection. So we need to include all those factors in a particular disease forecasting program. And this disease forecasting program, as I told you, require at least studies for a 6 to 7 year or even more than that. So for a particular disease, if we want to develop a disease forecasting program, for at least 5 to 6 years, we'll study the pattern of that particular disease in that particular area. So on studying various factors and correlating with the various weather factors with the pathogen development and their impact on the pathogen. So all those and vector, the role of the vector also. So studying all those factors based on the 5 to 6 year studies on those factors, we are able to predict, or we are able to develop a program which can predict a particular disease to a accuracy, right? Okay, so after Sahiba, we have a Sanjana. Yes, Sanjana.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, who's this?
Ma'am Ayushi.
हाँ आयुषी बताओ.
Ma'am, last time I also didn't participated in the discussion.
Okay, Ayushi, so you speak now. Sanjana ने अभी on नहीं किया अपना camera, so you can start. Oh, Sanjana, Ayushi both आ गए. Sanjana, can you just wait for a minute? We'll start with Ayushi, then I'll ask you, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, yes, Ayushi, please.
Yes, ma'am. So I found about plant disease forecasting. So plant disease forecasting is a management system which is used to predict the occurrence or change in the severity of plant diseases. So at the field scale, these symptoms are used by growers to make economic decisions about disease treatments for control. So among the first spray warning services to be established for growers were the grapevine downy mildew forecasting schemes in France, Germany, and Italy in the 1920s. So a successful plant disease forecasting system, it is attributed to its reliability, simplicity, economic importance of crop, and availability of necessary information about the components of the disease triangle, the multipurpose applicability, and cost effectiveness. The prerequisites for developing a forecast system are that the crop must be a cash crop and the disease must have potential to cause damage or to cause yield losses. Control measures must be available at an economically acceptable cost. The disease should not be a regular feature. It must vary each season in the timing of the first infections and its subsequent rate of progress. Growers must have sufficient manpower and equipments to apply control measures when disease warning is given. Also, long-term warnings or predictions are more useful than short-term warnings or predictions. For disease forecasting, information on the three factors, the host, environment, and pathogen, all are required. And the various methods employed in disease forecasting are like forecasting based on primary inoculums, based on weather conditions, forecasting based on correlative information, and use of computer-based programs. So in India, forecasting rice blast, which is caused by a fungus called Pyricularia oryzae, is done by correlative information method. It is predicted on the basis of minimum night temperature 20 to 26 degrees Celsius in association with high relative humidity of 90 degree or 90% or above. And also there are computer-based forecasting system have been developed for rice blast in India.
Okay, Ayushi, so that was a good discussion on plant disease forecasting. And the one important factor that you said was like disease forecasting is that first thing that we need to decide for which disease forecasting program which we need to develop, right? And this is done on the basis of the economic importance of that disease, that how much losses that disease is causing to that particular plant. So this is an important point that not for every disease a disease forecasting program is being developed. It is being developed on the basis of the losses, and if the losses are really more and the diseases are destroying a crop totally, so we definitely need to develop a disease forecasting program. Okay, Ayushi, thank you so much. Can we move to Sanjana now? Yes, Sanjana.
Ma'am, am I visible?
Yeah, you're visible and audible, Sanjana.
Okay. So, ma'am, the most familiar forecasts are for daily weather and severe storms, where accurate forecasts are used to protect life and property. Similarly, decision makers could potentially use infectious disease forecasts to prepare for and prevent illness, hospitalization, and death, as well as the economic burden experienced during infectious disease epidemics. Infectious disease forecasting aims to predict characteristics of both seasonal epidemics and future pandemics. Accurate and timely infectious disease forecasts could aid public health responses by informing key preparation and mitigation efforts. Examples of well-developed forecasting systems are rice blast, wheat stem rust, and Ayushi already explained them. So moving on, the models for disease production are empirical models based on the experience of farmers, the scientists, or both, simulation models based on theoretical relationships, general circulation models GCM that are based on fixed changes in temperature or precipitation has been used to predict the expansion range of some diseases. So an example of disease prediction during the 2014-2016 Ebola virus disease outbreak in West Africa, there was a strong push to use clinical trials to confirm that Ebola vaccines could be safe and efficacious. Real-time forecasts generated during the outbreak highlighted challenges for the design of the planned clinical trials. These studies showed, based on forecasted incidences rates of Ebola virus disease, that there was a strong possibility that the trials being proposed during September 2014 would not have sufficient case numbers to demonstrate significant results. So this forecasting sped up the discussions among senior leaders to pursue more productive alternative trial designs. So, ma'am, my topic for the NTCC project for this year was the role of artificial intelligence in scientific research. So, I also came across how artificial intelligence can be used in the prediction and tracking. So, recently, the role of AI in the identification and forecasting of COVID-19 outbreaks by employing multitudinal and multimodal data was emphasized. So AI can be harnessed for forecasting the spread of viruses and developing early warning systems by extracting information from social media platforms, calls, and news sites, and then provide useful information about the vulnerable regions and for predicting the morbidity and the mortality. So Blue Dot identified a cluster of pneumonia cases and predicted the outbreak and geographical location of the COVID-19 outbreak based on the available data using machine learning. Health Map collects the publicly available data on COVID-19 and makes it readily available to facilitate the effective tracking of its spread. So to conclude, I would like to say experience from the successful application of analytical technologies across multiple industries can inform the development of technologies for infectious disease forecasting and the outbreak science. So technological advances will improve public health response to outbreaks, mitigate economic losses, and hence save lives.
Good, Sanjana. You talked about the artificial intelligence and such programs which are developed on the basis of this, and these programs how they can be exploited for disease forecasting systems. And I mean, see, if the infectious diseases can be forecasted well at times, definitely that time that the public health workers and other people can get to prepare for that particular epidemic or any other form of disease outbreak, so that will save a lot of lives. So morbidity and mortality both can be reduced to a certain level. Good, Sanjana, that was a good points that you presented. Okay, can we move on to Shakti now?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, Shakti, audible, please speak.
Talked about some models which we use for the prediction of diseases. So I would like to elaborate upon that. So basically there are 4 stages in a model. So first one is purpose of disease model. So it involves like which specific disease we are talking about. If we are talking about a plant disease, then which crop would we like to forecast for, and the climate and the specific region which we are talking about. So that is first step. Then second is model development. So then we make assumptions and we monitor variability, like whether we are observing any variability or not, and also we make our assumptions. And third is model validation. So in this step we test the assumptions whether they are true or not. And last one is model implementation. If those assumptions which we are making, if we feel that they can be true, then we go for we then go publicly and speak about that and tell others. Also, I read some examples in which this forecasting was applied in human diseases. So, forecasting, it has been used to predict epidemics of communicable diseases like cholera, malaria, and Rift Valley fever. So, we definitely cannot stop certain diseases by predicting them, but definitely we can reduce their effects. So, yes, ma'am.
Okay, Shakti. So that was right. Actually, we cannot stop the from by disease forecasting or by predicting a particular disease. We are definitely cannot stop it to happen, but we can take some steps at that time so that impact of those diseases can be reduced. So that gives us some time to prepare for that particular disease, right? Okay. So can we have Shivani Mishra now? Yes, Shivani, please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, actually, her MS name is hanging. She has just texted me right now.
Okay, fine. Tanvi, can we move on to you?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so disease forecasting, it depends on the 3 factors, that is host factor, pathogen factor, and environmental factors. So in the host factor, prevalence of susceptible varieties are in the given locality, and response of host at different stages of the growth to the activity of host is seen. And in pathogen factors like spore germination, incubation period, sporulation on the infected host, or penetrating stages, these are seen. And in environmental factors, temperature, humidity, light intensity, or wind velocity is seen. And forecasting based on correlative information is that weather data of several years are collected and they are correlated with the intensity of the diseases. So the data are compared and then the forecasting of the disease is done. And there are few examples that well developed forecasting systems are like rice blast, wheat stem rust, and there are models for disease prediction that are empirical models based on experience of growers that the scientist or both, and simulation models that is based on theoretical relationships. And problems with use of such models are that model inputs have high degree of uncertainty and potential for adaptation of plants and pathogens, and non-linear relationship between climatic variables and epidemic parameters. And uses are also there. So forecasting and assessment of diseases is important for crops production management and for timely plant protection measures. Information whether the disease status is expected to be below or above the threshold level. And for loss assessment, forecasting actual intensity of loss and yield reduction can be predicted. And for making strategic decision, prediction of the risks involved in planting our certain crops, and deciding about the need to apply strategic control measures can be seen like soil treatment, planting a resistant cultivar, etc. And plant pathologists and meteorologists have often collaborated to develop disease forecasting or warning systems that attempt to help growers make economic decisions for managing diseases. So these types of warning systems may consist of supporting a producer's decision-making process for determining cost and benefits for applying pesticides or selecting seed or propagation materials, or whether to plant a crop in a particular area or not. So this system is prone to like growers as it encourages use of pesticides economically and as required. So this not only saves the money and energy of the farmers without risking the crop health, but also provides the environmental pollution.
Okay, Tanvi. So that was a very, discussion about a plant disease forecasting in a detail. So when we talk about that, how we, in disease forecasting systems, models are developed in such a way that you correlate various weather variables with the disease, that how disease is progressing in a particular area with change in a temperature, change in environmental condition, moisture, or a change in a precipitation or any other weather variable, right? So a lot of statistical analysis is being done when such systems are being done. A lot of a correlation between different pathogens to the various environmental factor is being studied. And as you told that there's a disadvantage that there are chances that they will not predict diseases to that, I mean 100% surety. So these are the probabilistic programs, or a probability. When we talk about the biostats, we talk about a probability, right? So we always talk about that there is a probability that this disease will take place. So when we talk about this particular word in a stat, so they are already forecasting that there's a chances that this disease is going to take place. And I mean, there could be variation in that particular statement, and the way they have forecasted it, and the actual disease which is going to take place later, right? So yes, they are never 100%. The accuracy is never 100%. There are certain points which, definitely when we study a particular disease, even for 7 to 8 years, there are chances that next year those pathogens might behave differently. There are new strains which are coming up. There are new pathogens, because pathogens are also evolving. So there are always chances that these forecasting programs may not or might not be able to predict the disease to the accurate level, right? Okay, so can we have a Tridiv now? Tridiv, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Um, Ma'am, so basically, plant disease forecasting is a management system used to predict the occurrence or change in severity of a plant disease. Um, then, forecasting system is basically based on assumptions about the pathogen interaction with the host and the environment, basically, and the disease, and this is called the disease triangle. The objective is to accurately predict when the three factors, host, environment, and the pathogen, all interact in such a fashion that the disease can occur and cause economic losses. So, in this forecasting system, it basically helps people. And in future, disease forecasting techniques may become more useful as computing power increases and amount of data that is available to the plant pathologists to construct model increases. Good forecasting systems also may become increasingly important with climatic changes. And coming to the requirements which are necessary to make useful and success to make this disease forecasting techniques useful and successful are like disease management measures are available at economically acceptable costs. Experimental studies have determined which climatic factors affect the pathogen and the disease. The disease is economically important and must cause significant damage in terms of yield loss or quality. The incidence of disease varies with time due to the influence of climatic factors. Uh, then again, there is like reliable forecasting of the incidence of plant disease is quite beneficial to plant growers in such a way that since the forecasting involves ascertaining the conditions of agroclimatic climate zones. It informs the growers about when the conditions are going to sufficiently favorable for the economically important diseases in that zone. Uh, this helps growers apply disease management with time to time. Forecasting informs the growers whether the condition are not favorable and the disease is unlikely to be intense enough. This helps growers to save the expenditure in terms of time, energy, and money by not applying unnecessary management measures. Forecasting also helps the growers to plan advanced preventive measures against the losses due to occurrence of important severe diseases. Then there is a relationship between weather and plant forecasting. So the relationship between the disease management and the weather is like the major basis on which the occurrence of disease uh, whether to this pathogen on its vector, and sometimes pathogens on its vector they minimize inoculum so applying of the following crop for the following crop. um, Intercrop weather. uh, Ma'am, I think I had some network issue. Am I audible right? Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, Tridev. So you talked about that how growers they are benefited from the disease forecasting systems. For example, if the forecasting say that this season the disease is not going to take place, so they will not spend on the on the management of a disease, because some measures are taken before the disease are being are taking in the taking place in the field. So they'll not spend their money on those measures, and that will save their money also. And if the disease is being forecasted, that also helps them in reducing the losses which are caused by that, not losses, but at least the steps they can take. Some steps can be taken early to manage a particular disease, so that will reduce the losses which can be caused to a particular crop. Yes, Tridev. Yes, Tridev, your hand is raised. You want to say something?
Ma'am, was I audible? Because
Your
yes,
last
ma'am.
just
I
one
don't
minute
know whether.
was not audible. Otherwise, you were audible.
Yes, ma'am. Because from the morning itself, I am having some network issues. So
Could be. No
I'm
issues,
sorry.
no issues. I could hear. No, 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 no. Don't say sorry for that, because only the last 2 minutes I did not hear clearly from you. Otherwise, I could hear, right? Yes. So, can we have Vanshika Bhatt after Tridev?
Hello,
Hello. Yes, Vanshika.
ma'am, I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible, Vanshika.
Ma'am, so basically, it influences and it is influenced by physical and geological process. But
Mm-hmm.
the biosphere also interacts with the physical Earth system, and over decades and centuries, and the living system also interacts and with other systems at a variety of scales. And at
Mm-hmm.
large continental scales, exchange between the biotic elements and the atmosphere controls the climate and productivity. And at small scales, plant interacts with each other and exchange the energy and matter also.
Vanshika, I could not correlate what you said to the topic that we are discussing right now. So I don't know whether you know about the topic that we are discussing today is a disease forecasting, like weather forecasting.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I could not relate whatever you said right now to this forecasting.
Ma'am, basically, the forecasting systems, they are based on the assumptions, no? The
Hmm.
pathogen interactions
Yeah.
and the host and the environment.
Hmm.
And the objective is also, ma'am, accurately predict when the three factors, the host, the environment, and the pathogen all interact.
Okay, Vanshika. Fine. So, Vanshika, you joined this course also very late. So, I still feel that a lot of is required to be studied about the viruses. And I'm sure you're going through the topics which are being already discussed in the class, because, you need to somewhere match up the students when exams will be given or in the later stages, right? So, okay. So, can we move on to Vivek now? Vivek. Yeah, am I audible, Vivek? Yeah, other students, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yukta, next. Yes, Yukta, are you there? Yes. Yes, युवराज, युक्ता, विवेक, no one is responding. मैं attendance नहीं मार्क करूंगी आज की आपकी. I'm audible, other students. Yes, Nandini, you joined the class very late, I guess. अभी 5 मिनट पहले तक आप क्लास में नहीं थे and now you are in the class. Yeah, other students, Devanshi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
I'm audible. Then why nobody is replying to me? I am thinking my network is. And Nandini, please, you joined the class very late. So we are not getting responses from Yukta, Yuvraj, and Vivek. I'll mark you absent for today's class, right? We'll moving to the first student. Adhish, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, disease forecasting can go sometimes be synonymous. Is functions just like the forecasting. It's like everybody said. It's not always we can forecast a disease like nobody predicted this pandemic. But what we can do is do our homework, take necessary steps, and better prepare ourselves and when the disease or any endemic or pandemic breaks out, in order to minimize the losses, we should um, keep up with the current trends of that particular pathogen and try to minimize the loss as much as possible by better managing the disease like it's being done now. And yes, as time passes, there will be more advances in. I think AI will help a lot in disease forecasting because AI will help a lot in disease forecasting because it can study many models of the structures of the pathogens and the proteins of the pathogens, and by proper and through proper knowledge of those, we can better equip ourselves against that.
Okay, Adhish. Can we have another student? Next student is Ayushi, she said, right? Sam. Yes, Sam. Any remarks from you?
Ma'am, like I read about some forecasting systems used in India, and we use it for rice blast. So yeah, they use a lot. They predict on the basis of the temperature at night and the relative humidity, and then obviously there's a computer-based forecasting system, and like they also use it for wheat stem rust, the same method. So it usually is done like in South India.
Okay, fine. Okay, next can we have Devanshi? Yes, Devanshi.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, Devanshi, you want it.
Ma'am, I would like to discuss on the different models which are based on the forecasting for agriculture crop diseases. Like crop diseases have some potential to threaten the world's food and also causes the food supply and in very dispersal patterns, but sometimes it's unclear to detect the overall impact of the disease. So there are some models which are made for the detection for the particular forecasting. This can be agriculture and agri-food, which is in Canada, which was done by the Department of Geography. Also, that in countries like Australia and Canada, the disease dynamics itself involves various types of complex interaction between a host and a pathogen for the in the environment. But the respect of the, if we talked about in the largest integrate risk facing susceptibility of agriculture, genetic factors also cause this type of diseases to uh, spread widely, like for example emergence of new diseases and new races, or if we talk about the environmental driven influence, it can be global climate change impact or on disease spread. That's it.
Okay, Devanshi. So we all discussed about lot more discussions were on a plant disease forecasting. Yes, because more programs are on a plant disease forecasting, but there are some programs. Yes, one discussed was the Ebola. Some students talked about that, but there are more plant forecasting systems and programs. Like there's a very unique forecasting system which is being developed by the Center Disease Control in the USA. So influenza is a major problem, right? There's a seasonal influenza. There's a yearly always this take place, and lot of people are impacted. So they have developed a flight cast program to forecast this particular seasonal influenza. So what they did, they make it a sort of a competition. They announced that whoever will forecast this influenza to a accuracy level, they'll check the accurate that to the accurate level, they'll it is a sort of a competition which is being created, and they'll give some prize money and some amount to do that. So number of the teams, they get involved in this disease forecasting program, and they every week they give some kind of a data to the CDC and prediction of this flu, and this is being predicted. So at the end of the year, they decide that which was the winning team, and that team is being awarded with some money. And the next year again they start with this kind of a competition again. So they made it, they changed it, that they make it a kind of a competition kind of among the various researchers, and then they work on the prediction of this particular disease, and a lot of things are being revealed this way now. So this was the interesting way they are trying to create a competition between the researchers also, and award is in the form of some sort of grant or a seed money is also being given, right? So that's all. Yes, Yukta.
Sorry, ma'am, I wasn't able to. So, ma'am, can I?
So what were you doing when I called your name twice, thrice, and how many times I called your name?
Ma'am, I unmuted myself. I switched the network.
Okay, fine. Last concluding remarks from Yukta.
Okay, so everybody mentioned a lot, so I'm gonna discuss about the geographic information system, which is helpful in disease forecasting. So geographic information system, GIS, it is a computer system which is designed for capturing and storing and manipulating and managing all the types of spatial geographic data, and it provides important tools that can be used in predicting, monitoring, and controlling the disease. So it can be used to determine the fatal extent of disease, to identify the patterns of the disease, and to link the disease to auxiliary spatial data that is present.
Okay, fine. So this was about today's topic was about disease forecasting. And see, students, believe me, why this we have started. First, that the reason is that we in the syllabus we don't have much left to cover. Still, most of the things we have covered. And then another thought was that at least when you'll come to this class, you'll read paper, you'll Google things, and something that they'll be they at least you'll retain something, right? So that was the major aim, that and somewhere we are talking related to the subject only, somewhere we are moving around the subject only. So that was the main aim, was that you should know more than what have you already learned in the course. So what else more is about virology. So that was my main aim. So that's why I started this, and the kind of the enthusiasm which is shown by the maximum students I see, that they actually present, whether they are reading, whether they are doing whatever way they are presenting it, but they are presenting, right? So to present maybe for 1 or 2 minutes, they might have read it for 5 to 10 minutes at least, right? So that was my main aim, behind starting this discussion class. So I still feel that it is good that we get to speak, we get to learn, and we get to share things about the science on a common platform. So that was the main aim. And today's absentees, I guess the Rupal, Nandini, Athoiba. Nandini, she said she has some network issue, but Athoiba and Rupal are not present, right? So I'll mark them absent. Right. Okay, students. So I'll see you next week in the theory class. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am.